All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're cracking open one of the most buzzed about, and let's be honest, one of the most controversial books on strategy you'll ever find, Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. Some people see it as a brilliant guide to getting ahead, others see it as a straight-up manual for manipulation. But whatever you think, you can't deny its impact. So, imagine for a second, what if power wasn't just this vague, fuzzy concept? What if it was a game with a very clear rulebook? A guide that spells out every move used by emperors, con artists, and master strategists throughout history to get control and, more importantly, to keep it. Well, that's the wild premise of this book. And make no mistake, this book has let's say, a reputation. It gets called a modern-day The Prince, a how-to guide for the absolutely ruthless. Now, look, there's no way we're getting through all 48 laws. So instead, we're going to boil it down to the core themes, the big ideas that make this book so powerful and so polarizing. Okay, so the first big takeaway is all about perception. Greene's whole argument starts here. In the game of power, what's actually true is way less important than what people think is true. It's all about mastering how you are seen. And right away, you see how tricky this gets. On one hand, you've got Law 1, never outshine the master. Play it cool, don't make your boss look bad. But then, boom, you get to Law 6, court attention at all costs. Be impossible to ignore. So, what gives? Well, that's the whole point. It's not a simple checklist. Power is a delicate dance. You have to know when to blend in and when to be the star of the show. And at the center of all this is Law 5. I mean, listen to that. Guard it with your life. That's intense. But for Greene, your reputation is everything. It's the foundation of all your power. It's the lens that people see you through. So you have to protect it fiercely. And check out this story. It's a perfect example. Imagine this. You're a Chinese strategist named Zhuge Liang. A massive enemy army is marching on your city, and you have, no soldiers. So what do? He does something insane. He throws the city gates wide open, sits on top of the wall, and just calmly starts playing his lute. The enemy general, who knows Liang has a reputation for being a master of deception, totally panics. He's convinced it's an elaborate trap and orders a full retreat. Liang won the battle without lifting a finger. That's the power of reputation. So you see, reputation isn't just a passive thing. It's not just what people think about you. It's an active, strategic weapon. It's like your own invisible army, out there fighting battles for you before you even show up. This all ties back to controlling how people see you. Law 4 is all about your words. The more you talk, the more ordinary you seem, and the bigger the chance you'll say something foolish. But if you stay quiet, if you're vague, you force other people to try and figure you out. And in doing that, they often build you up in their own minds to be way more powerful than you actually are. Okay, part 2, the art of strategic action. So once you have a handle on perception, it's about what you do. And the book's message here is crystal clear. This isn't about quick reactions. Power is a game of chess, not checkers. You have to be thinking several moves ahead. This is such a huge one from the book. You might win an argument, but you almost always create resentment. You're basically telling someone they're wrong, and nobody likes that. But an action, a demonstration, that's undeniable. It shows your power instead of just talking about it. And how about this for a pure power move? Instead of running around chasing your opponents, you bait them. You make them come to you. Now, they're on your turf, playing by your rules, reacting to your moves. You get to conserve your energy while they waste all of theirs. You're in total control. History is full of this stuff. Take the French diplomat Talleyrand. When Napoleon was in exile, Talleyrand basically dangled the bait, making it possible for him to escape and come back. Napoleon took it, of course, but it was a trap. Talleyrand knew France was completely broke and couldn't afford another war. Napoleon walked right into an impossible situation, which all led to his final defeat at Waterloo. Talleyrand played him perfectly. Okay, this next one has a great name, the cat's paw tactic. It comes from an old fable about a monkey who gets a cat to pull hot chestnuts out of a fire for him. The monkey gets the reward, the cat gets a burned paw. It's literally about getting other people to do your dirty work. You hide your real intentions, convince them they're acting on their own, and boom, they take all the risks while your hands stay perfectly clean. All right, moving on to part 3, exploiting human nature. See, all these strategies we've been talking about, they aren't just clever tricks. They're all built on a very specific and pretty cynical view of human psychology. To play the game, you first have to understand the players. So the book breaks down some core psychological truths. For instance, self-interest will always be gratitude. Envy is the secret force that drives so many people's actions. We always want what we can't have. Emotions are like a virus, so stay away from the unhappy and unlucky. And maybe most importantly, people have a deep, desperate need to believe in something, which makes them very easy to influence. This quote from the Roman historian Tacitus just perfectly captures the book's cold worldview. It basically says that when you do a favor for someone, you're giving them a burden. They hate feeling indebted to you. It's way, way more reliable to appeal to their own self-interest. And this is probably one of the most ruthless laws in the entire book, the idea of the thumbscrew. It says that everybody, every single person, has a vulnerability. It could be a deep insecurity, a hidden passion, a little secret. And if you can find that weak spot, you can use it to guide their actions. It's pretty dark. But, and this is a huge, critical but, none of this is foolproof. Greene himself points out that every single one of these laws has a reversal, a way it can just spectacularly blow up in your face. So yeah, what happens when the master strategist gets outplayed? What happens when the puppet finally realizes it's on a string? This is where you realize that every law is a really sharp, double-edged sword. And they can absolutely turn on you. That law about courting attention, push it too far and you don't look powerful, you just look desperate. Your whole mysterious vibe, yeah, that can easily turn into a reputation for being shady and deceitful. Try to play your allies against each other, and you might find that they decide to team up against you. And trying to act too perfect, that doesn't create admiration, it creates envy, one of the most destructive forces out there. So in the end, you're left with this. The whole book operates on one big assumption, that life is just one constant, endless struggle for power. And while it's a fascinating look at how influence works, you can't help but feel that its advice is, well, kinda evil. So the question is, do you read this as a guide for self-defense in a tough world, or is it a playbook for domination? And ultimately, is the pursuit of power really worth the price?